Hello, welcome to the Manic Pixie Dream vlog. This is your host, Caroline Georges, and welcome. I wanted to talk about Louis C.K. and just like forgiving, past offenders. He was a real villain of the Me Too movement, and he's having a comeback, and which. I don't really like that they're saying it's a comeback. There needs to be another way of phrasing it. I feel like comeback, you think of like The Comeback or something, or you think about like a middle-aged, television actress from the 1970s getting cast in a Quentin Tarantino movie or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's like what a comeback is. And Louis C.K. went away for a reason, and he went away because of sexual misconduct, which is a crime. And it's pretty serious. And what he did to these women was actually pretty serious. And so what happened was the first two accounts, these two women came forward in the early 2000s, and he would dismiss them and their accusations as rumors. These women were silenced. They weren't supported. I think one of them lost management. Lost a relationship because of somebody who was connected to Louis C.K. or something like that. There were consequences. These women did actually have consequences, and they were really surprised at how no one supported them when they first came forward with this this situation that was actually pretty shocking. So at a show, they went back to his hotel room for a drink, and he said a drink. And I think that they were two women, two friends. It was cold out, so they were like they described that they were like dressed to the nines and like in winter garb. And they went back to his hotel room. They hadn't even taken off their jackets when Louis C.K. Asked to masturbate in front of them. So he undressed and he masturbated in front of them. And why these women didn't leave, you ask? If you were, they didn't because they froze. There are four really common responses to women who are being assaulted, and one is freezing. Women will freeze. They'll get scared. They'll freak out. They won't know how to handle a situation. They'll just kind of sit there until it passes, whatever. And there's fight, flight, and fawn. So fight is they could have gotten up and beat him up. Flight, they could have left. Fawn, they could have gotten into it and just been like, yeah, masturbate in front of us. Because, I guess, was that really, honestly, the situation Louis C.K. was picturing? Because, honestly, with porn and stuff like that and sex addiction and just kind of all of that stuff, I guess, people, get really, I've been on dates where it's like a guy, I totally feel like a guy just cast me in a porn movie or something like that. I couldn't believe it. It was just like who the fuck are you talking to? What do you mean? I'm not going to do that. We were just having coffee a second ago. Why are you getting so dirty all of a sudden? And it's just I don't know, they just associate you with sex. So what do they see with sex? They see this situation in their mind that they watched in a porno or their fantasy or whatever, and then all of a sudden you get cast in it and you don't even know what you're doing. And it's just anyways, it's kind of a long story, but it's just what did Louis C.K. honestly think was gonna happen? I just feel like there's something in that situation that's sort of predatory, because he couldn't have thought it was their response was gonna be enthusiasm. But then again, he was defended by, I think, Sarah Silverman, who Louis C.K. would masturbate in front of her, and she would be fine with it. And so, I guess he has had positive responses from women in the past, and maybe he just thought that that's what it would be that time. But, who knows? But what happened is that he upset two women who, were in a situation that they didn't ask to be in, and in a situation they shouldn't have been put into in the first place. And so in Louis C.K., I'm sorry, but he called their accusations, their true accusations. These aren't even accusations. This is the truth. They said, they told us what happened. He said the Me Too movement kind of smoked him out and forced him to admit it. But for the longest time, he dismissed these accusations as rumors. And if you're going to dismiss accusations against you of sexual misconduct or rumors, then you're silencing victims. And you're using your name and you're using your power to silence victims. And so, I'm sorry, but it's just like, I mean, of everything that Louis C.K. did, I mean, that's what he did that was really fucking wrong. Was that, you know, this could have been over a long time ago. He could have just acknowledged it at the time when it happened, when these women did come forward, because they did come forward in the early 2000s when it happened, and nobody cared or gave a shit at the time, because Louis C.K. was Louis C.K., and who the fuck were these two women? I don't know their names. And so, and then the other woman who was a writer on this show that he worked on, he was, I think, the head writer. Well, she was subordinate to him. She was in her mid-20s, and when she was in his office with him, he asked if he could masturbate in front of her, and she, you know, froze, and she just sort of let it happen, which would be an extremely confusing situation to be in. And I couldn't imagine being put in that situation. Like, seriously, like, not even me. I couldn't even imagine being in an office and being with a male, and like a man senior to me, and being alone in his office and him asking that of me. I couldn't imagine that situation or how I'd respond to it. But this woman, she responded by, you know, complaining to, you know, the right people. They were going to stop the show, and they kind of left it up to her. And so she just said, okay, fine, it's fine, don't worry about it. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want other people to lose my job. So she just sort of went along with it because, you know, she was afraid for her career. And again, he said that this accusation was a rumor. And we're like just rumors. That was his chant. That was what he was saying the entire time, that these things were just rumors when they weren't. They were true. And him saying that they were just rumors is really fucked up. I mean, Louis C.K. is just that funny. You know, I mean, I think that's really what it is. Like, how horrible sexual misconduct is, as horrible as sexual misconduct is. If it's this horrible, Louis C.K. is this funny. So he's just funnier than how horrible sexual misconduct is. And so that's why Louis C.K. is going to have a comeback, if you can call it that. Yeah. But, I mean, I'm a little more upset about the Aziz Ansari situation because, I mean, I'm sorry, but, like, Aziz, this is a trend that really fucking bugs me. It really angers me, was that with feminism, people are using that to basically, well, I mean, like, you see it with Star Wars or the Marvel movies. It's like, oh, if you don't like our movie, that means you hate women or something like that. You know, there's that rhetoric that's been going around, and it's just, and so, and I hate that. I think that's just totally exploitative of women and of feminism. And you're using feminism to manipulate people into liking your art. And that's really fucking wrong. And especially because it's like I see it with, you know, feminist actresses and comedians and that, you know, will, you know, scream about feminism, but they themselves aren't fucking feminists. And, you know, and so it's like, oh, okay, so you're, you know, making money from feminism without being a fucking feminist. You know, and I thought I was a con artist. Guess not. That's pretty amazing. No. Anyways, but anywho, but Aziz Ansari really, really just went with feminism. He got on board the feminist train and was the fucking conductor for a good 2 years. And you know what? This is my I hated Aziz Ansari. I thought he was so annoying. I thought he was like this little dork. And like, oh my god, that fucking date. And like, what Grace was describing in that article was just like, oh barf. Like, could you imagine like just like Aziz Ansari asking you to blow him? Like, could you imagine just that dorky, ugly little face looking at you, all like mischievous and brooding and sexy and like asking you to like give him a blowjob? See, I would accuse him of rape too. I would do it in a second if that were me. I don't blame her at all. I stand with Grace. I do. Because I mean the thing is, if like Aziz Ansari's book, I didn't read it, but I perused through it at Barnes and Noble, and from what I've read, is Aziz Ansari is this gung-ho male feminist who will treat you right on a date, no worries. And that's not what fucking happens. That was I think if I were Grace, I would be a little surprised at his behavior too. And so I mean it bothers me. This guy made fucking millions off of feminism. He gained fans because of fucking feminism. He gained me as a fan because of fucking feminism. And it's like when he wasn't. That was just a shtick he was using to get more famous. And so that's what bugs me. And that's why I think, like, if anything, I think Aziz Ansari is less worthy of a comeback than Louis C.K. is. Louis C.K. wasn't a surprise. He's kind of comes across that way. And so when you found out about his whole his issues, you're not really that surprised. And it's just like, I don't know, like, what is it that we can forgive people? Like, there's just, like, these little, like, there are these little screws that, like, oh, this forgiveness works with this guy, but maybe not with this guy, you know? And it's like, I mean, with John Travolta, like, I mean, John Travolta was accused of some pretty heinous shit, but because his victims were men, everyone was just kind of like, oh, well, John Travolta's like a weird Scientologist, so just ignore him, you know? But still, I watched Urban Cowboy the other day, and I love that movie, and I love John Travolta in that movie, and I love young John Travolta, and his older movies and stuff, and it's just, like, I can't stop watching him. I can't get enough of him, and it's just like, but it's like, when I'm watching these movies, am I thinking like, oh, that poor masseur, that poor male masseuse that, you know, unsuspectingly went to go give John Travolta a back massage and then ended up getting groped and verbally abused and that horror. It was really, I mean, actually, if you read the situation, it's really awful. And it's amazing that John Travolta wasn't murdered. He would have been if his victims were women. He would have been killed. But because his victims were men, no one really cares, and I kind of don't care as much. I don't know. I mean, I know that's awful, but it's just like, I guess other people feel the same way, and I wonder if other people, like society as a whole, or like society as a mass, if they all turned on John Travolta, then maybe I would be like, oh, well, I guess I better stop watching Urban Cowboy or something. I don't know. Like, or maybe I don't know how much of a follower I am or how much of a leader I am in the Me Too movement, but I haven't stopped watching old John Travolta movies. And I don't know if I'm going to watch Louis C.K.'s comedy stuff coming up or not. But, I mean, I was watching Game of Thrones, and, you know, like, Jamie Lannister, I mean, it's kind of like, and it's like Jamie Lannister syndrome, I guess. Because Jamie Lannister in the first or in second season, he was a real piece of shit. And for some reason, we all kind of forgive him. Like, I think it was like with Brienne, like he sort of had that redeeming relationship with her, and so it's like, oh, well, now he gets women, and he saved her from that bear, so, you know, so who cares that he tried to murder a 9-year-old boy? Like, forget about that. And then we forgot about it for like 8 fucking seasons until this last episode, when you're like, oh, right. Oh, no. Jamie Lannister is now face to face with the little boy that he tried to murder 10 years ago. And, yeah. And it's sort of like that, but I guess Louis C.K. is going to have to come to terms with his Bran Stark eventually, and I think that he could do that by giving financial reparations to his victims. That's the best I can advocate for. I think that Louis C.K. should give money to his victims. That is just what I think. I think that he should write a check for a amount that these women may or may not have lost had these abuse accusations had been taken seriously at the time and not denied by their abuser for years. Anyways, that was my vlog today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to like and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. Thanks. Anyways, have a lovely day. Bye.